Like you were the drunk guy, right? I mean, was that hard to
Pretty much.
become
Yeah.
become a character?
The first night Howard experienced it was we were in New Orleans, and I got on the plane. So he sat me in first class with him and got me wasted.
Welcome back to Here's the Pitch. I'm a YouTube friend Brad, and it's part 3 with Brian Phelan as he talks about dealing with Stuttering John, his last days with the Stern Show, and Ronnie's wedding right here.
Yeah, well, bringing me back to Vegas also reminded me that like you heard his Howard's show when they got back. He seemed pissed. I've never heard him so pissed off, but he sounded so pissed. He's like, "So there's no stories. Like you guys didn't do anything. Like I wanted a whole show of stories." And it sounded like it was more.
Yeah,
it was a weird.
I felt the same way. Like I said earlier, Ronnie. If you hang around Ronnie long enough, something crazy is going to happen. But the wedding was kind of tame. It was just a nice, normal wedding. It was like nothing crazy. Nobody got out of hand. We just had it was fun though. It was a good time. It was great to see everybody. But there was like I said, I think the crazy part happened the party before. The Kurt Busch thing. He was a little out of hand, they said, but I missed all of that. So I just went, enjoyed myself. Everybody, it was great to see everyone. Gary's wife, Mary, was there. I talked to her for a while. John Hines' wife, Debbie. It was just good to see, I hung out with these people back in the day, not just them, their families, right. Their wives, and, and it was just great to see everyone again, catch up, So
it's probably a better hang when the boss isn't there. So I'm guessing that's how everyone was more relaxed.
Yeah, maybe that too, right? And you're not on your toes so much, you walk around, make sure you kind of, feel it. Like even when we saw Metallica at the Apollo, I had tickets that they upgraded me, and the next thing I know, I'm like literally in front of Howard. I was standing in front of him, and I'm like, "Fuck, man!" Like I'm a concert guy, and I'm like, do I be tame here and calm so that I'm not I don't piss him off or whatever, And then once the music started, it was like, "No, fuck this," and I was just like, just getting crazy. And I actually apologized to Gary the next day because Mary was next to me. And I'm like, "I'm sorry." I tell Mary I said, "I'm sorry." She's like, "What? What'd you do?" And I'm like, I was that guy at the concert. She goes, "No, she loves that. You had a great time. You were enjoying it. She loves seeing people enjoy themselves." I'm like, "All right." I just didn't think, I didn't know if I was a little too much because, once I get that music in me, man, I just go all out. And we had a blast.
Yeah,
so.
We got a buddy named Cliff. You look like him too, and I'm just Cliff at Foo Fighters is like it's like a new experience. He's out of control. I love a concert. I'm doing my thing, but I mean this is
right. He does. Yeah, I get it.
No, it's funny.
We gotta hang out.
Well, yeah. So, not on my list of questions, but you were the drunk guy, right? I mean, was that hard to
Pretty much.
become a character? I mean, it doesn't seem to harm you.
The first night I was always party, whatever, and the first night Howard experienced it was we were in New Orleans, and I got on the plane, and I took a flight, different from everybody else, and we were all going down to the NAPTI convention, and I met my old boss. He just happened to be on the same plane as me. So he sat me in first class with him and got me wasted. And I don't know, man, when you drink on a plane, you get drunker faster, I guess. I don't know, because I was lit up real quick. But I had an anxiety attack, and I literally, felt it coming on. So I jumped up, and I went run into the bathroom, and the drink cart was in the aisle, and I went to go around it, and I passed out on the drink cart. So I got up and I ran to the bathroom, and they're like, "Hey, we're landing. You gotta take your seat." And I'm like, "All right." So
if this was today, you'd be on Inside Edition, and they would have landed that flight in Dallas or some shit.
Oh, right. They would have just dropped the flight right there. Right. They would have got off. Right. So that night, they're all like, "What's going on?" And I told somebody, and of course, it got back to Howard, and we were like, "All right, what's going on?" And I'm just like, I had a good time on the flight. I just, whatever. So we had a dinner that night. This was the next night. And we went to this party afterwards, and that's when we did the beads. I think I told this the last time with the beads, and yeah, we spent $8,000 in beads, throwing them down to the people on the street, and it was just a blast. And then from there, that's kind of a couple more times after that, I got drunk, and they heard about me getting drunk, and that's when we had the party, the drinking show, and that's how that all kind of meshed together.
And Brian became the drunk guy.
That's how I used to be. I mean,
Clean.
I still drink, but I don't drink like I used to. But when I do drink, I'm not looking to have one drink. I want to get drunk. There's only one reason to drink is to get drunk. So when I start going, I want to go, full swing. So that's how I roll.
Yeah, we over here we're doing more day drinking just so we can have a nice long sleep.
Yes, I'm at that point too, dude. I do my day drinking. That's what I did in Vegas. I got there late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Got up, did some day drinking, took a nice nap from like 6 to 9, went out again, hung out. There was this. I stayed at the. It's called the Grand. The Hotel Grand, the Grand Hotel. I forgot, it was Grand something. Anyway, they had a jazz club right across from the elevator to get to my room. So I went in there, and I watched this guy who was a Johnny Cash impersonator. And then they brought these two guys out. They had these awesome guitars, and they played like that Dick Dale surf kind of music, which was right up my alley, man. I just love that old school shit. And it was awesome. And then I went, I had a good time. And then I went right across into the elevator, went up to my room and crashed. And then we did day drinking. We drank at Ronnie's wedding. That was at night. But yeah, I got lit up that night too. Well, dude, I was stumbling around the casino. I couldn't leave the casino. Not that I wanted to. I couldn't find my way out. I was just like walking in circles. Like, where the hell is the hotel? It was comical.
There's no signs. There's no clocks. There's no door. I mean, you have to really. That's what they do.
Yeah, I had no idea, and I lost my phone, so I had no idea what time, what time it was, whatever. So, whatever.
Couple more minutes, couple more fun moments. I loved when Stuttering John took the Tonight Show. I think it's one of the craziest showbiz stories of all time. You pick a stutterer to be your announcer of the. I mean, imagine Johnny Carson hearing this. It's
Oh no, yeah.
What was it like?
That never happened.
What was that time period like? To be around that, to see that, and Stuttering John in general for you. I mean, seemingly gone off the deep end now. I think I don't know what's going on with him now.
So John kept that a big secret from everybody because I guess he thought if Howard got wind of it, he probably would have kiboshed it. So he kept that a big secret, but Scott the engineer knew because he made the audition tape for him. So,
it's a Tonight Show with Drew Barrymore and Paul Simon.
And then, all of a sudden, John's got the Tonight Show gig and he's leaving, and he took a beating on the air, which he always did anyway, and he was just gone, and that was kind of it, and then what came out of that was win John's job, which was Shuli, Sal, Richard, I think Dan the Song Parody Man, I think Chauncey Hayden. There was like 5 or 6 guys that came in, applied for the job. I think Richard actually won it, but they ended up hiring Richard and Sal out of it. And then Shuli came right like that. I think that happened like 04, maybe he left. And then by 06, we were in Sirius. And Shuli, who I was friends with, we had met in Vegas, and I kept in touch with him. I called him up one day, and I'm like, yo, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, everything's fine, and I'm like, yeah, we got to hang out sometime when you come to New York. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And sure enough, he was in New York already working on the show, but they didn't announce it yet. So I found out like 2 days later that all of a sudden Shuli's now doing Howard 100 News. And I call him up. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I just talked to you and you didn't tell me you were here. He's like, you know how it is. You can't say anything until it's out. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So yeah, everything's a secret until it's revealed.
Yeah.
If you can't say shit until, it's out there. So you got to just keep your mouth shut. And I get it. And, I'm good. I was happy for him, man. I love Shuli. Shuli's awesome. But yeah, so John ended up leaving, and 3 people got his job, which worked out, for the show because Sal and Richard were they're a great team, and then Shuli's got his fucking thing that he does, which is great, and it just made for a great time, man. It was like, it's I don't know if you ever saw The Office, but Ed Helms said something like, you never know you're in the greatness until it's gone, and it's like, man, like I knew it was great, but like now I really know what a great time it was, and I'm like, man, I just kind of want to relive that moment again, It was just so much fun, man. It was just like every day was just a new day, laughing your ass off, enjoying yourself, getting to see things that nobody else is going to see, and it was the time, it was fun.
Well, I think we've mentioned this before. I've mentioned it here. I worked in a sports TV office for 15 years with the Cardinals and the Blues, and there was 4 producers and a couple talent and a couple editors. And there was a guy, we would just have a blast. We wanted to be in the office together. We wanted to, and I remember my buddy Max going, we're not going to go anywhere else where it's going to be like this. So we need to, and it was so true. He left, another guy left, a new guy came in as a boss, made it miserable. We all sort of just dissipated, and you realize, so it brings me to when they, you learn on the air that you're not going to be there. You've talked about this the last time, but just how jarring did it jar you? Like, cause I think you were still doing some freelance stuff at that time, but like
listen, it was jarring because it was like, all right, but the word was we were supposed to stay on. Okay. They were going to cut the show down on our end. I think we had 30 people on the production staff. I think they were going to cut that down to 15. I made the list, I heard. So I was like, all right, we're going to do a stream. From what I understand, Howard at the time did not own the rights to the stream. So he just got rid of the show altogether. So we were done. And I'm just like, all right, it's over. Like I said, it was a great time, great experience. I got to, meet a lot of great people, work with a lot of great people. And I kind of just moved on. But nothing's been the same since, of course not. But it wasn't so jarring until I actually had to have my exit meeting at Howard TV, and I was kind of like, I was like really upset. I'm like, man, this is it. I'm done. Like fuck, like it's over. So I kind of left it at that, and I'm just like, all right. I still had work. I got a job immediately right away, so I wasn't really worried about money or anything like that. But I was doing another show that was in the morning, and it was all talk, sports talk, which I hate because we talked about just New York sports. So, like, they did A-Rod at the time. A-Rod had some issue, and they talked about A-Rod for a fucking week straight. And I'm like, dude, come on, man, like enough, And I just got burnt out. I was, doing the morning, like I said, 20-something years. I was in the city, and I'm doing these hours for 20 years already, and I was just miserable at that point, and I left. I'm like, I'm just leaving. I can't take it anymore. So I left that gig, and then I got a nighttime gig, which was better because I was tired of going to, like, I was going backwards. I had another job where I was getting up at 3 a.m, and then I got another job that I had to get up at 2 a.m, and I'm like, I'm going to bed at 7 o'clock at night. The sun's still out. I'm sweating my ass off because I didn't have air conditioning at the time. I can't even fucking sleep. I got to get up at 2, drive to the city, deal with all this, And I'm like, I need something new. So I got something new, and we did that for a couple of years, and then the pandemic, of course, fucked everything up. And then I got back, and I'm kind of I'm on a pretty good, pace right now. I'm not semi-retired, but like I work baseball. I must have did 150 something games this year, which lets me float for the winter somewhat. So I had the whole month of October off. And now I just got the Coliseum and the Mets and the Yankees, and you know what I'm doing too? I'm working at this comedy club, Governors. So I met the owner a few years ago, James. He's a great guy. Through the show, used to do, Shuli and Ronnie and Sal used to do, shows there. So I met the owner, and he's great. And I went to pitch something to him one day, And he goes, "Hey man, listen, these comics, they want their shows taped, and you could sell them their sets. So would you mind doing that?" I'm like, "No, I have no problem doing that." So like twice a week, I go there, shoot these comics, and sell them their sets. And I'm trying to set up a YouTube channel and stuff like that for the comedy club. So I got some things I'm working on. But yeah, I'm not stressed to be somewhere at 4:00 in the morning, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
I love this idea, by the way. This anytime I have these discussions, this idea with the governor's thing. Now I'm thinking about helium here in St. Louis or
yeah.
Funny Bone.
So I want to actually talk to you off the air about that because I know you have your YouTube thing set up,
Sure.
so we can talk about this.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, I've always hustled, man. People, they always tell me, dude, you hustle, you always working. I'm like, yeah, you have to, to keep to being bored. It keeps you from fucking, blowing your head off, and put money in your pocket. So whatever I, can do to stay busy, I do.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm overworked. Like I said, I did 150 something games, and I was like, by the end of the season, I don't think I watched one playoff game or the World Series. I'm like, I'm done with baseball.
Yeah.
So
no, we're going back. We're going backwards. So I used to do 160 games plus hockey, and I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to work 2 baseball games a month. That's my goal.
Right.
And do something else on the side. And so I've luckily gotten to that point. But yeah, people don't understand this baseball schedule. I mean, they just get to watch the game. So you're there probably 3 hours, 4 hours for the game. You have to stay after. There's rain delays. There's double headers.
Yeah, I'm usually on an 8-hour day, but usually we're out after the game. But yeah, so I'm there for 4 or 5 hours before the game, setting stuff up, getting everything ready. Then you got the game, but yeah, then you got but on top of it, people don't understand also, it's also every fucking weekend. It's every night.
Holidays, so July 4th, Memorial Day.
Right. Right, it's holidays, so the schedule, I'm not bitching about it, but it's a job.
I'll bitch for you. I bitched. I hated it. I got at the end. I'm like,
right.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's a great job. Don't get me wrong. It's entertaining. You get to watch baseball for free and football for free, whatever for free, all these sporting events. But in the end, it is a job. So you got I got to deal with the worst is in the Bronx trying to get out of the Yankee Stadium. Sometimes it takes me a half an hour to go 2 blocks to get onto the highway. It drives me crazy, man. Like there's a point where I could get out of Yankee Stadium and zip right out and be right on the highway, and I'm fine. If I miss it by 30 seconds, that time frame, that little window, I'm screwed.
Yep.
And that makes me nuts,
Yep.
man.
Yeah, I work maybe 8 to 10 baseball games a year, and I've worked the MLS soccer now. It did and the most important thing was finding the spot that gets me on the highway without dealing. So I'll walk.
Right.
I'll take a 10-minute walk if I can get around this one area. I found this place, this very secluded place that I don't want to tell you. It'll literally get you on the highway, and that's all you think about is getting the fuck home.
There's a couple of guys I work with that do that because the Bronx is literally right next to Manhattan, Yankee Stadium. So you got to go over this one bridge and you're Manhattan. Some of the guys go to park in Manhattan and walk over there. It's like 4 blocks. But that's what they do, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't trust my car in fucking Manhattan. Sorry, I'll just park here and deal with this shit.
So I don't trust mine in downtown St. Louis, but I park it anyway. So
right.
All right, Brian, I think we covered everything for today. I'm sure I'll have more some other time, and we'll get back together and do this again. But
sounds good, Brad. Man, it's good seeing you again.
Yeah, good luck to you, and we'll keep an eye on the governor's YouTube channel. We'll talk after this. But that's going to do it. I appreciate Brian. I appreciate you coming here and watching these in a couple parts. So we'll catch up with Brian again sooner or later. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.